Hello everyone, myself Dr. Achita Bhaikar, and today we are going to learn about the prostate. Objectives of today's session is, at the end of the lecture, each and every student should know the situation, measurements of the prostate, coverings of the prostate, parts, lobes, structures traversing through the prostate, the structure of prostate, blood supply, lymphatic drainage, nerve supply, development and changes according to the age in prostate and its applied aspect. Introduction. The prostate is a conical fibromuscular glandular organ which surrounds the proximal part of the male urethra, and it corresponds to the paraurethral gland of Skinner, which has been asked various times in the MCQs. The secretion of the prostate is slightly acidic and is a considerable part of the semen and contains acid phosphatase, fibrinolysin, prostaglandin and large amount of zinc. Situation of this prostate. It is present below the neck of urinary bladder, above the urogenital diaphragm, behind the lower part of the pubic symphysis and in front of the rectal ampulla. And on each side there is a levator ani muscle. Measurement of the prostate are 4 into 3 into 2 centimeters, the transverse, vertical and anterior posterior diameter, and it weighs about 8 grams in weight. Coverings of the prostate. The prostate is covered by means of two layers. Inner is the true capsule and the outer layer is called as the false capsule. Between the inner and outer capsule there lies the prostatic venous plexus. Now this true capsule, it invests the entire organ of prostate and it is formed by the fibrous stroma of the gland, whereas the false capsule is formed from the facial sheath of the prostate and it is derived from visceral layer of the pelvic fascia which envelops the prostate and the bladder in the same compartment. So false capsule covers the prostate and bladder. One should remember that. As the prostate is conical organ, it should have an apex and base, anterior surface, the posterior surface and two inferior lateral surfaces. The apex is directed below and comes in contact with the superior fascia of urogenital diaphragm, which covers the deep surface of sphincter urethrae and deep transverse perineal muscle. Whereas the base is directed above and surrounds the neck of the urinary bladder. It is pierced by the urethra in the median plane at the junction of anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3. Whereas the anterior surface, it is narrow and convex and it is situated 2 cm behind the lower part of the pubic symphysis. And between these two, there lies the retropubic fat, the prostatic venous plexus and deep dorsal vein of the penis. Whereas the posterior surface is broad and flat and related to the ampulla of rectum, separated by rectovesical fascia. This surface is palpated by means of per rectal examination, which is 4 cm above the anus. The posterior surface is divided by a transverse groove into upper smaller area and lower larger area. The transverse groove is pierced on each side by means of the ejaculatory duct. The upper area, it forms the median lobe, whereas the lower area is again divided by means of a median sulcus into two lateral lobes. Whereas inferior lateral surface is related to anterior fibers of levator ani muscle. Lobes of the prostate. Anatomically and surgically, there are different lobes of the prostate. Anatomically, there are only 3 lobes, that is the median lobe and 2 lateral lobes are there. Surgically, it is divided into 5 lobes as the median lobe, anterior lobe, posterior lobe and 2 lateral lobes, of which the median lobe is very important because median lobe, when enlarged in old age, acts as a ball valve to obstruct the outlet of the bladder with eventual retention of the urine. Because see the location of the urethra and the location of the median lobe, which are very nearer to each other. And that's why when the patient exerts more straining for maturation, the urine outflow is more diminished. Structures traversing through this prostate are the prostatic urethra, ejaculatory duct and prostatic utricle. Prostatic urethra, it is almost running vertically downwards from base to the apex and at the junction of anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3 of the gland. Whereas ejaculatory duct passes posterior laterally, which is seen best in this diagram. Next diagram. Ejaculatory duct passes posterior lateral to the median lobe and opens at the colliculus on each side of the prostatic utricle. And what is this prostatic utricle? It is a mucus cul-de-sac about 6 mm long and it extends upwards and backwards from the colliculus behind the median lobe. So this diagram is in the sagittal section, this diagram is in the coronal section and this diagram when we cut the prostate in the transverse section. Structure of the prostate. Prostate is fibromuscular glandular organ of which the fibrous component is 1/4, muscular component is 1/4 and the glandular component is half of the gland. The fibrous tissue, it is thickened at the periphery of the organ to form the true capsule. Whereas the muscular tissue, it consists of the smooth muscle and is continuous with that of the detrusor muscle of the urinary bladder. Whereas the glands in the prostate are arranged in 3 layers from within outwards. These are inner mucous glands, intermediate submucous gland and the outer main glands. So these 3 glands are forming 3 concentric layers around the urethra. The inner mucous glands are simple tubular glands that open in the prostatic sinuses above the colliculus. The intermediate submucous gland present less follicles and smaller ducts which open the sinuses at the level of the colliculus, whereas the outer main glands, they are having numerous follicles and longer ducts and they open into the prostatic sinus below the colliculus. So this is above the colliculus, at the colliculus and this is below the colliculus. The blood supply of prostate. Arterial supply is by means of 3 of the important arteries, that is the inferior vesical artery, which is providing the main branch, that is the prostatic artery which is supplying the prostate. Also the branches from the middle rectal artery and internal pudendal artery also supplies the prostate. Whereas the veins from the prostatic plexus are lying between the true capsule and the false capsules. The venous plexus receives in front of the deep dorsal vein of the penis and communicates above with the vesical venous plexus of the urinary bladder. Finally, the blood is drained into the internal iliac vein through the posterior ligament of the bladder. Few of the veins from the posterior side of the prostate, it goes and drains into the internal vertebral venous plexus. This is known as the paravertebral veins of the Batson. The backflow of the blood into the Batson's plexus takes place during the increased intra-abdominal pressure such as coughing, maturation, defecation. So, this system of venous drainage explains the route of vertebral deposition of metastasis in the cancer prostate. As these plexus are present between the true capsule and false capsule, one should remember this relation while removing this prostate during prostatectomy. Lymphatic drainage of the prostate. The lymphatics from this side either go into the internal iliac, external iliac, or goes on the posterior side into the sacral group of lymph nodes. The nerve supply of the prostate, it is having sympathetic as well as the parasympathetic nerve supply. The superior hypogastric plexus convey the sympathetic nerves which are derived from L1 and L2, whereas the parasympathetic fibers are derived from the pelvic splanchnic nerves which convey the preganglionic fibers coming from S2, S3 and S4. So, development of the prostate. As I said to you, the prostate is fibromuscular glandular organ. The fibromuscular part, as we have seen most of the time, fibrous and muscular part, it develops from the mesoderm. So, you can remember the fibromuscular part, it develops from splanchnic mesoderm, whereas the glandular part, it develops from pelvic part of urogenital sinus. Again an MCQ on this. So, there are various changes which are occurring in the prostate according to the age. Let's see what happened in newborn. In newborn, there is hyperplasia of the mucous membrane due to the effect of circulating maternal estrogens. And at puberty, it exhibits a sudden and extravagant growth and assumes the double of the size of the neonatal size. Whereas in the old age, there are two extremes of the changes which can be observed. The prostate may be progressively increased in size, as seen in this diagram, or it undergoes the atrophy. So, applied aspect of the prostate, there can be benign enlargement of the prostate, which is seen in this diagram, which is mostly because of the adenoma, mainly in the median lobe. So that's why whenever there is an increase in the size of the median lobe, it acts as an ball valve mechanism to obstruct the outflow of the urine. And that's why whenever the patient exerts more pressure, there is decreased urine output. And in this diagram, you can also see how there is distortion of the prostatic urethra which is occurring, which is again hampering the outflow of the urine. So, in this condition, usually this prostate is removed, which is called as the prostatectomy, which can be done by means of various routes, as transvesical route, means coming from the urinary bladder, or it can be retropubic route, means behind the pubic symphysis, or it can be transurethral route. By this route also we can resect this prostate, keeping both the capsules of the prostate in its position only, because the venous plexus are lying between the true capsule and the false capsule. The second condition which is common in the prostate in old age after 50 years is the carcinoma of the prostate, in which the prostate becomes hard and fixed when we do the per-rectal examination. And in this condition, it can spread to the vertebra via the